Hello, hello. We are day drinking again. This is David. I'm very excited. My good friend and now supplier, Pablo Moy is joining us. A couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. A brief apology to the wonderful Mark Brown for my complete Freudian slip. It is in fact Max Shapira, who left as president of Heaven Hill and was replaced by Alan and Kate Latt. So sorry about the trivia last week. Check out the sweet K&L hat. They are not for sale, but they should be. Send some emails to ownership. They'll love that. Briefly, Weller. Two winners of the Weller, Samson L. and Bavik. Freaking lucky guy, man. Bavik P. So there you go. I'll put those through soon. We're going to be joined shortly. Did the Fortuna drop? Christopher is very excited. Very soon it will be dropping. In fact, if you stick around, you might get lucky. For those who show up. Where is Pablo? He must be here soon. Is he on? Let's see. Pablo can't be far. He can't be far off. Here we go. It took me 15 years to get a hat like this. Pablo!
What up?
Hey, brother. How
All
are
right.
you?
Can you hear me?
I hear you great. Can you hear me?
I can.
We have a pretty good group already, but
Whoa.
there we
Well,
go. Get that
there we
out
go.
of the way.
Yeah, we did that once. Probably won't do it twice.
Looky.
What I
It's
got here.
finally here. This has been a little journey, Pablo, you've been on. I feel like we've been on it together, but I just kind of sat here with my hands in my pockets waiting, but here we are. And we get pretty intimate on day drinking, so this isn't going to be just the classic spiel. Pablo, I want to know about you, man. Tell the people, who the hell are you and how the hell did you do this? This is so freaking cool, man.
I've been in the restaurant industry for about 30 years and been heavily involved in the whiskey world for about 20 and collecting for about 15. And I'm a major fan, like a super fan. And now, and now I get to like put stuff out there now as super fan extraordinaire.
Yeah, Pablo, you're like you're kind of a legend in LA, and your legend is spreading its wings across the country and the world, I think. Of course, your first project we've highlighted here before, and it's still the name of your company, which is right on the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Rare Character,
mm-hmm.
Which I think it not only is a great name for a bourbon, but it kind of like describes you perfectly, Pablo. There's only one Pablo Moy.
And he's a rare character.
Yeah. But tell us about how you sort of did that. Like, how did you jump from restaurants to making booze? That's a huge leap.
Yeah. So basically, it was right as COVID started. They told us to be 2 weeks, and 2 weeks turned into 2 months, and 2 months turned into, oh shit. I called a bunch of friends of mine and friends of yours that are really established people in the industry, and I had an idea, and they thought it was a great idea, and they said you should do it, and we'll be very supportive because there's right now 89 people currently in here that probably don't know where bottles come from or where you get a barrel from. So, it took a little work, but yeah, here we are.
Here we are, and tell us why Fortuna. What is this brand all about? Like, who, what, where, when on Fortuna?
Yeah, so Fortuna, I really gravitated towards the brand as a collector, right? So I love old Glencoe whiskey. I love old Fortuna bottles. They're things that I, saw. I looked for a lot. They were awesome, awesome, awesome whiskeys, you know, from when the Hollenbachs made it to when it went to UD.
And Glencoe is a pre-pro distillery in Louisville. It
Yeah.
was run by the Stitzel brothers. It was
Yeah,
the real
they
deal.
invented the racking system while with them. So,
Yeah.
you know, Glencoe or Fortuna is the modern day, you know, Ricks were invented, you know, with them at the time. Me as a Latino, I love the name because the name is a Spanish name, Fortuna. Although it's interesting because they're German immigrants and decided what I feel is a very Latino name. And then my business partner, his family today owns a lot of the assets associated with this brand. What is, you know, their assets today. So when we were talking about, you know, launching a project together, I said Fortuna. We said at the same time. Literally, we like finished the sentence and we were like, "Let's go Fortuna." So
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it was, I mean, like wildly popular back then. Like it was extremely sought after and well regarded. And you've had it many times. And I think that's for me. I mean, the coolest thing about this is you're sitting there when you're blending these batches with a bottle of the old shit, the real deal Fortuna, which of course, since you're a collector, you've been able to procure some. I can't imagine you have a significant amount, but who knows with Pablo.
No, I don't have tons, but I'm working on getting tons.
If it still exists. And it's, yeah, it's, you know, it's not easy to, you know, start a new brand, let alone a Kentucky bourbon brand, and then also to make it taste delicious, which I think it does. That's even harder. There's a lot that goes into it. Let's taste it. I want to taste it right now.
Yeah, I pour myself a little.
Goody.
Be ready. Look at that.
Healthy pour. No spitting today, boys. And yeah, this is going to be released in like the next few minutes, I think, Pablo. I think like
possibly. You tell me. I don't know.
I think we're going to do it right now. I don't know. Does everybody want Fortuna? I think it's going to go live as we're tasting it. 138.
138 goes live.
The first Fortuna in California
you did it right now?
Is for sale. It's happening.
Oh, right now.
Right now.
Oh, wow, right now.
It's happening. It's happening.
Do you get marzipan?
Dude, the nose is freaking A++. The nose is like, for me, the nose is everything in so many ways. Of course, the palate is important, but I mean, 80+% of flavor comes from the nose. But when you get that first whiff, oh, jeez. And it feels very old school too. You know, it obviously this is modern bourbon, but you've done a lot here with the blending. This is pretty special stuff. You've I guess had good success. Seems like everybody everywhere wants it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. It was definitely challenging because back then, at this time, right, when we're talking about this brand or old Glencoe products, they would have won the barrel at 110. That was a legal amount. It's been up now to 125. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of, for me, trial and error of, you know, because I had side-by-side pours at me and I would create the blends and literally try them against the whiskey. And the thing is, for me, was to be so historically accurate that, because I do that, right? As like when Cream of Kentucky came back or Chicken Cock came back, or all these things come back, the first thing I do is grab old bottles, grab new bottles, and taste them side by side, you know, to see how they like, do
you think anybody else in the industry is taking the time to do that while they're blending? I feel like that's impossible. I mean, maybe, but I can't.
I don't know. You know, to be honest with you, I don't know. I'm not,
not to throw shade on anybody else's brand.
I definitely, like, it's been very rare that I get things that feel historically accurate. That to me was super important because there are people out there that have these, and I want to make sure that, I'm true to the brand. I'm sure there'll be some people who aren't aware, whether, we invest a lot of energy in this or whether my partners, connection to a lot of their assets today, they might go, oh, what's this thing? Someone's just stealing trademarks. And it's not the case, because that's what I feel. Some people just grab old brands and try to revive them, but I put literally a lot of energy in this, like a lot of energy in this, to make it taste exact.
You rarely half do things, Pablo. So I'll give you that, and you're putting your heart and soul in it. and the rare character line for that matter, which I think is, exceptional in terms of its locating unique stocks of things that we thought we knew, and you're like, this is not MGP. This is something different. This is not, Dickel Rye or whatever distillery it might be. Each one of those batches is so unique. Now you've got all these wood finishes coming. I don't know. Am I jumping the gun on that, or do you?
No. Yeah, we just dropped Bourbon Outfitters, which is Justin's House of Bourbon in Kentucky. They just did an Amarana finish where people are going nuts over. So now I got like 100 emails in my inbox I haven't read yet saying they're on Amarana casts. So all of our cast finishes are starting to drop, and again, like I take a very malt approach, right? Because I feel like with a lot of American whiskey, the primary flavor is the cask, and the whiskey is kind of also starring, versus when you, as a person who loves a lot of, Scotch malt, and I collect it also, you know what I mean? Like you get that.
Fortuna's almost sold out, guys. So if you're waiting now, don't wait any longer. We're already half sold. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. And then, now you start getting into those things where you want the cask to be the accent, but not the primary thing. So my approach, as far as many things that I've tasted, is very, very, very different. I'm not trying to nuke it. You know what I mean? Like I want. If it's bourbon, you want to taste bourbon, right?
I totally feel that. I mean, I'm a bit of a purist, and I maybe I'm too harsh on some of the cask finish, particularly the wine finished bourbons. I prefer like Armagnac finishes and some of these things where you've got these old barrels that are doing more subtle things to the bourbon, or adding something without taking it away. But I often tell people, or very rarely have I seen, there's good finished whiskey out there, but not great. And you sort of, you always want to be like, God, what was this better before? Like maybe they didn't add too much. But if you're doing it carefully and with restraint, I think you're onto something. Mostly because bourbon tastes great just the way it is, and like when you just add more layers to something with so much going on.
Oh wait, I think I lost you. Oh, you're back.
I'm back. My wife somehow got through my. I put it on like no, do not disturb, blah, 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 but she gets through. Oh well. Can you hear me now? Yeah,
I can hear you now. Can you hear me now?
Lovely, I hear you. So everybody's buying a ton of Fortuna. That's cool. It tastes real good. A quick question here: is 6 year the youngest in the blend, or is it all 6 years old?
Okay, 6 years the youngest in the blend. We didn't, just so everyone knows, there's no age statement on the front of the bottle. And that was done very intentionally, because back in those days, age statements weren't always as apparent. It's in the text in the back. We are going to be releasing some age statement stuff very soon, like right after the new year. And in looking at a lot of the old labels and trying to use a lot of that, like great stuff in design, we didn't want to waste it on the, I don't know, not say wasted, but I wanted, because there's a lot of just plain labels. So I wanted to go with that to start. And then all the age statements when you start seeing the 7s and 9s and the 10s, and we're going to use a lot of that cool stuff, and a lot of the even old dialogue, like Summer's Old.
That was stuff.
Yeah. So that,
that look scroll thing on the back label, that comes from the original, right?
Yeah. The only difference was it was actually like boxed in. We actually just cut it out.
Right.
So I thought it'd be cool.
It does look cool. And we were able to taste, I mean, I always hesitate to mention things that we've done together, but we were able to taste briefly some older juice. You do have, some real cranking single barrels coming through. What's the timeline for that product? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, so that's another line or a new project
brand,
which I'm just calling Exceptional Cask. And I couldn't think of another name, and a lot of people use it, so I'm just gonna roll with it. And that one, the bottles will be squattier and dark. And it's funny because Willet just put out their 8-year wheat in a dark bottle, and there's been a little flack about not being able to see the color of the whiskey. Just so everyone knows, the to be in my black bottle, it's a 9-year minimum, and I think for calendar year 22, it'll be 14-year being the oldest.
Wow.
And they'll all be single casks. They'll be kind of bopping around all over the place. David, you're getting one, bourbon. But it'll all represent a Kentucky straight something, whether it be Kentucky straight bourbon, a rye, or Kentucky straight malt. And I'm really excited about those.
I'm sorry. What was that last one?
Kentucky straight malt. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
That's
Not
awesome.
to be confused with single malt. This is a 65 malt, 35 corn with it's a sour mash with a rye bourbon backset.
Wow.
It is bourbon.
Sorry. I guess this show's for adults, so I guess I can swear.
It's really, really, really good. And I have a couple 14 years dropping, one in California. And I literally challenge all 85 people on this live currently, 88 now, to drink that next to Stag. And I don't know, you tell me. You know what I mean? Like it's hot and it's thick and it's delicious.
Oh God, I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Mike asked about the age again. Yeah, Mike, we covered this. It is 6-7 years is the range. Minimum 6. Each batch is blended to taste, so they'll all be 6 years old, but some might have a little bit older stuff in to get this character. I mean, for me, it's all in the nose here. This is that super old school, prohibition style, not too forward on the sweet. It's just really rounded. It feels like it's been it feels like it's been in the bottle longer than it has, to be honest. It's so just seamless. Here we got a question. Is there going to be Rare Character or Fortuna branded, or is that here, I'll show you. It has both brands. Rare Character, Fortuna. The whole thing is there. So Rare Character is the overarching sort of name for all the brands, right? And
so Rare Character being like Sazerac or Diageo, right? It's the parent company, and then within that, Fortuna being the first brand. I got 2 other new brands that are interesting coming early next year.
Right. Someone's asking. Yeah, I don't think you can disclose the source of the juice. Of course, it's
no, but I can tell you what it's not. So there's something that's called off the shelf. So that's off the limestone shelf. You're on the coal shelf. So that would be Owensboro. So it's not Glenmore, which is Sazerac, and it's not Green River. So now you're back on the coal shelf. It's not a sweet mash because it says sour mash on it. So it's not preservation, and it's wilderness trail. It's definitely not Barton's. I'll just say that straight up because I get that. Some people ask me that. It's not. And it's not pot stilled, which then mixes out Neely, Willett, who else? We got a pot. Anyone's got a pot. Palate Preservation.
Woodford.
Woodford.
To anybody.
So now it only leaves really good places. So
legacy producer. It's from one of the legacy producers.
But it will be. What I will say is, I have a lot of friends that obviously own whiskey brands, and each one of their different SKUs at the moment come from different places. Mine's just one place, one source, forever. Forever, hopefully forever. As long as I don't disclose where it's from, then it's not forever. Then it ends right now. Not Castle and Key.
Don't blow it up yet. Castle and Key. They're fine people.
I love them.
Yeah. I don't think BBC has too much 6-year-old. I don't imagine they'd sell it to Pablo.
No, but I do have a little.
Sell me any, so we'll see.
I do have some 6-year-old BBC 95.5 Kentucky Straight Rye.
Starting
to lurk around a little bit. I know.
Did I pick up a barrel of that? Did we select one of those?
You didn't.
I should.
You should. It's really good.
Let's do that. All right. It is really. Hey, Kai's here. So this stuff is pretty freaking bonkers. There's still some available. Shocking but true. Boys got to get on it. Oh God. And yeah, Pablo, everything else good with you, man? Where are you? Are you in LA?
I am in Los Angeles currently. Yeah.
Oh, gorgeous. I love that.
So we're on the same time zone.
Yeah, it's rare, but
which is
like,
rare.
Yeah, you're all over the place. When are you back in Kentucky?
Monday.
Oh God, lovely. I miss it. I miss it.
I owe everybody a lot of whiskey.
Yeah, you're when you're the guy blending every single batch, man, you're called to action pretty frequently here. Gonna have to hire like a master blender.
We're a company of 3, so like I do everything. So if anybody wants to come to Kentucky next week, all 94 people on this live right now,
watch these people. These people will show up.
You'll get one of these. We'll get a drill, a hammer, and some pegs, and we'll go to town.
Oh my God.
I can use the company, man. It's hours and hours and hours of tasting. I get to my bottler where I store my stuff at like 6 a.m. and I'm drinking up until 5 o'clock when they're throwing me out.
Where is Stanford, Kentucky? I've never been over there.
Stanford, Kentucky is central Kentucky, so it is 15 minutes from Danville, which is where Wilderness Trail is.
I've been to Danville. So north of Danville, south of Danville?
It's just east.
Due east.
15 minutes.
All right.
Yeah. So
that's a drive from Louisville. What, you fly into Louisville?
It's an hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you stay over there, or you come back every day?
Every day I come back. It's an hour and a half each way.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And after 11 hours of straight drinking.
Good luck. Good luck. You need a driver. It's not like the old days when Beam would just like throw cars at people. Now Pablo's the competition. How is Kentucky these days? It seems like it's jamming. We were there in April. People are out and going wild, huh?
Yeah, I mean, remember 4th Street Live? It was like Hollywood. That's dead. It's over. Yeah. But it seems like it's probably popping these days. I mean, there's a lot of new things opening up. A lot of the local things you remember, like I don't know, like Butchertown Grocery's gone. Bummer. I know, but there's like new places that opened up, and yeah, it's pretty. I think it's pretty cracking. I like it. I'm gonna buy a house there soon.
Great.
Yeah.
I always love being there, and like Louisville is a complicated little. It doesn't feel like the South. So you go to Lexington, you're like, oh, this is the South. But Louisville's it's a bit Midwest. It's a bit Rust Belt. It's a bit Southern. It's a bit of a crossroads. I really like it there.
I do too.
And then what's the future of Rare Character look like? Are you going full time in Kentucky, or are you gonna be doing big things there? What's the brands?
Yeah. So obviously the goal is to get complete freedom, right? Because right now, I've been people asking on this live, like, hey, where's the whiskey coming from? So I would like to say very soon, like from my place, you know what I mean? So we're working on that. We're working on, basically our own spot. So that's a
distillery.
Prime. Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of news. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So
that's exciting. What do you have like an idea of what sort of distillery? I mean, we're talking like legacy style type of distillery. You're going to put a bunch of pot stills in there and get real weird with it. What's your...
Okay, well, obviously there's a financial part of that, right? So if it was up to me, I'd have a little bit of everything, right? So I want to be like St. Louis distillers. I want 70 types of stills. I want different types of warehouse. I want a wooden column. You know what I mean? Like I really want to expand the idea of like the rare character, right? When people say rare character, like, oh, I don't get it. Like, is this stuff rare? I'm like, no, it's a rare character. It's unique. Like I'm trying to do things. I'm not trying to do a lot of sameness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's trying to do sameness, and I just want to really kind of broaden the category and just kind of see where this can go. I feel like if you look at like a category like rum or malt, it's such a broad range, right? Between like what an Isla type this is, or what Jamaican rum or Clarence from Haiti. Like, does that happen in Kentucky bourbon? It does. Do they allow it to happen? No, because it has to be very brand consistent, right? Like there's actually barrels I've tasted. through samples with friends of mine at places that everyone on this thing knows and wants, that actually tastes peaty. And it's not peaty for any reason, that it just naturally did that. Now that ends up in a massive blend, one of those small batches that they do.
Yeah, not so small.
And it gets lost. But, the idea is, to really, to do everything that no one else wants to do. That it's really annoying and time consuming and probably difficult and annoying to manage, but it's what I'm passionate about. And I feel like anyone who's really passionate about whiskey, like hardcore, would dig all the things that, that are zipping through my mind. You know what I mean? And I every time I talk to someone like yourself, or maybe some people that are on here or whatever, someone gives me an idea, I'm like, well, that's terrible, but a great idea. So we should probably look into that.
We can make it taste good. That'll work.
Yeah.
Peated bourbon. I mean, there are a couple out there. Gosh, I don't know. A couple of attempts at smoky bourbon, but
but we're talking about straight bourbon when the casket, 125 new barrel, the whole thing. It just sat somewhere, and the wood itself made it taste smoky.
Wow,
yeah.
Wild. I love
There's I've tasted some wild stuff. I mean, think about it. The rye you have, right? That Dickel distilled rye. That was distilled in Tennessee, aged in Kentucky, and to me, it tastes like a really dope, like almost like I'm really into like grain whiskeys, like Girvan, Caninvies, Strathclyde. It kind of leads in that direction and doesn't taste at all like a 95.5 rye. Like those are the things that excite me. It's like when you see a rare character single barrel series thing, you just know that it's maybe one barrel, it's maybe the top's 20, and they're weird, but like weird in a good way.
Yeah. Well, and when you first told me about this project, the way you described it, and you mentioned it earlier, is that you wanted to do for Kentucky what the independent bottlers in Scotland are doing for those whiskeys, which, of course, the big companies in Kentucky made extremely difficult for you, but you've managed to, which I get why people don't want other people to use their brands. But at the same time, I guess there's just nothing out there like that. It's such a cool idea. Like, how could you say no to that? Maybe there is some, I guess Single Cask Nation has a little bit of stuff like that, but most of you Scotch bottlers, that sort of thing.
My thing was, whether it's Single Cask Nation or whether it's like Lost Lantern and those sort of things, like my thing was to really just focus in on bourbon and rye versus trying to do American whiskey as a category.
Right.
That's what I really wanted to hone in on. But getting the use of people's trademarks became very challenging.
Yeah.
Like they were like, everyone thought it was a good idea until it was time to like actually start the process. And then they were like,
the lawyer said no, sorry.
Yeah. So then I took a direction of like, things that I used to collect, right? Like Cordy Brothers Van Winkles, the Blue Smokes, the Linnell's Red Hook Rye. So I decided that's the direction I took. I was like, okay, well, I'll just take it a different direction. And then I'll basically do it when Julian was, doing a rolly bag and no one wanted to buy stuff. And he was selling, 18-year-old whiskey to like law firms, you know what I mean? I said, well, like, I'm going to do the same thing, except that I don't have a lot of 18-year-old whiskey. Not enough to, to make that everything a single barrel, but, we'll get there.
Yeah. And there, as we both know, there's a lot of whiskey out there. It's just a matter of finding it and getting it. But someone asked an interesting question. Will you crowdfund? Would love to. Oh, someone's offering you money. All right. Investors. I don't think they're ready for that yet, but you never know. You can speak to that if you'd like to. Otherwise, Pablo, are you planning on opening a tasting room at some point? I would love a rare character tasting room in downtown Louisville with like every single barrel that you've ever freaking bottled. That would be.
I am one day planning on opening a tasting room, and very soon.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that'll definitely happen.
That seems like a little bit easier to put together than a distillery. And we can't wait for that, Pablo. Would it be in Louisville or LA, or where are you going to do it?
No,
No.
no, no. It wouldn't be in LA. Because if you had to be closer to where my barrels are. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, look, it's interesting now. For a long time, I'm just saying this. So for a long time, Kentucky bourbon was heavily marketed as, and people actually believe that bourbon has to be from Kentucky. And there's an open-mindedness now to what you can do. So, I'm very open. That the main thing with me is has to be has a lot to do with climate. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be proper climate for aging and maturing properly. And mitigating loss. Like, I think the fact that Clyde May is doing a distillery in Alabama is awesome, but like, it's hot as shit now.
Yeah.
Sorry for language. So it's humid. Okay. So those barrels at 2-year-old will be drinking 4. You know what I mean? It's a tropical climate. So, a lot of those kind of factors to me are really interesting. Like, I heard that Sazerac is installing freezers, so they can, age whiskey longer. It's why there is no such thing as, 40-year-old bourbons, because they evaporate. You know what I mean? So something in the north would be pretty interesting, because now opportunity to age things further, without having an empty barrel or something that literally tastes like wood, like you're drinking like wood syrup. So I don't know. I mean, like, I'm really open-minded. I'm really like trying to think of like the bigger picture. So
yeah, that's really interesting. So you envision kind of a warehouse with a tasting room attached where you could like store barrels and
I do bottling, have a restaurant, gift shop, coffee shop.
Amazing.
Yes, cigar room.
Great. Great.
Like, everything short of like, golf, because I have a friend of mine is doing that. So.
All right. Well, dang. Pablo, here's to you, man. Thanks,
man. So
we're so excited. We still have a little bit of Fortuna left. Keep going. Grab what you can while you can. There's more coming behind that, but if you want to be an early adopter, now's your chance. And strippers, I don't think there'll be strippers. The Kentucky laws on that are pretty tough, Prime Barrel.
There's a friend of mine. Strippers? By the way, if everyone follow Prime Barrel, a great group.
There you go.
Barrels.
Lots of fun people here today. And any other questions for Pablo before I let him go, guys? No? Fortuna Bourbon just gave us a blue heart. Thanks,
Look at
guys.
that, Fortuna Bourbon. That's amazing. All right, well, I'll let you get back to your jam.
All right, brother.
Thanks for doing this.
Awesome.
Everyone, thanks for sitting in and listening to us. Hopefully it wasn't too boring.
I don't think it was boring at all. I had a great time, but then again, I'm day drinking. Nothing's stopping these people.
I'm also day drinking.
We're pros. God, it's good, Pablo.
Thank you.
It's so crushable. It's so drinkable, but not like boring. I can't get it. How'd you do it? All right, dude. Thanks so much. So excited to be selling this. We are in love with it and in love with you. So be well. Stay safe.
All right. Bye, Dave.
Ciao.